Hello guys, this is Wale Farrow. I'm a tech entrepreneur and welcome to another episode of Tech RoundUp, your weekly opinion, views and analysis of the top tech events happening around the world, but with a focus on Nigeria. As we begin to round up activities for 2019, I thought it would be useful to our audience to review my fintech predictions for the year. Yes, in January, in a LinkedIn article, I laid out 10 predictions for fintech industry in Nigeria, and in this episode, we will do a review of the first part of those predictions. Let's get started. My first prediction for 2019 was that we will see more local and foreign institutional investments in fintech. We'll see more funds from seed to Series B investment come into the space to provide the needed capital for businesses to test ideas and drive growth in the fintech space. That prediction, as you can imagine, came true as more tech companies, not just fintech, raised sizable amounts of investment during the year. Indeed, from seed to Series B, with global participation, but the Chinese obviously stood out. These rounds are being driven by the belief in the viability of our market and superior execution by Nigeria entrepreneurs. And kudos to all that are burning the midlight candles to solve market problems, whether you've raised funds or not. My second prediction, I said a few more players will clearly dominate the space and take more market share. Without mentioning names, I truly believe that a few players in payments and lending will dominate more and start to increase their share of the market in an unprecedented way in 2019. This will be partly due to capital already raised and quality of execution. That was my prediction. Again, this prediction was spot on, if I can say so myself. On this show, we discussed the potential domination of OPay in a few verticals, and the watchers that they have, you won't bet against them to dominate more in 2020 as well. My third prediction, I said Nigerian banks will intensify their partnerships with fintech. I said we will witness more shift to open banking than we saw up to that point. A few banks will set up, beyond the current fintech teams, VC funds that will provide a structured vehicle for them to have equity participation at the seed stage for a few strong ideas. This hasn't fully manifested as predicted. Yes, we've witnessed more participation by banks to partner and collaborate with fintechs. We've even seen a few banks launch incubators as a launch pad for their engagement with ideas and early stage companies, but that has been the limit. What we are yet to see, however, is deep investment play by banks, and I think that's partly due to regulatory constraints that prevent Nigerian banks from active equity participation in these entities. However, we have seen more local VCs and PEs emerge and trying to raise funds that can be committed to participation in the fintech space. I think we will see even more in this space in 2020. My fourth prediction was that CBN will release its new regulation that focuses on licensing of fintechs, which will raise barrier to entry and force recapitalization of existing licensees. Okay, this does not happen. However, we saw a review of existing regulation, guiding payment system and participation, and we discussed many of them on this show. Over the last few months, we analyzed the implication of regulatory changes on POS charges, cash deposits, and participation of non-banking institutions in deposits, payments, and other banking activities. And the fifth prediction was about consolidation. I said consolidation will start happening. I said fintechs will start to diversify beyond their core areas to drive revenue and accelerate growth. Specifically, I believe payment companies will start looking at lending, especially SMEs, either by strong collaboration or acquisition. Yes, this has started happening. We've seen a lending company buy a payment business to keep the capabilities in-house and drive revenue generation. At NetPlus, which is a company I run, we've partnered with a lending business this year to explore a way to provide short-term financing to agents and merchants based on their transaction history. It was a successful venture with a lot of lessons learned. Several other fintechs are extending their capabilities through software implementation and partnerships. We'll review the remaining 2019 predictions in next week's episode, which will be the last one for the year. In other news, I was in Silicon Valley earlier this week for the launch of Africa House, a venture incubator for Africa businesses in Silicon Valley. This is an initiative of Whitespace X, a global incubator for startups. Africa House hopes to expose many African startups to Silicon Valley for knowledge transfer, networking, and fundraising, as it also hopes to help African startups identify potential opportunities and markets in the US for their products and services. I think this is a brilliant and unconventional initiative and one that entrepreneurs in Nigeria should take advantage of. If you are interested in working with Africa House, please check out the Whitespace X website for more information. Please keep your comments and feedback coming on LinkedIn at Wole Faron, and remember to subscribe to the Tech Roundup YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Also, please look at the bottom of your screen for all our social media handles. Please follow, like, share, and join the conversation. Please also remember to listen to Tech Roundup on Techie Talk every Wednesday from 1:30 p.m. on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM if you're in Lagos. Have a great weekend, guys, and see you all again next week. Adio. Two, two.